you guys had a discrepancy. You know, you go down. That's not why I dissed him. The reason I dissed him is actually a lot more petty than that. Now I'm in this fucking weird thing because I'm like, I gotta answer this motherfucker.
Hey y'all, what's up? So, many of you may or may not know that Eminem just had his interview with Sway for the whole Kamikaze interview. And as you guys can see, that clip that I put in for this video was just like pretty much how it ended, kind of giving us a bit of a prequel to his response to MGK and I guess maybe that whole drama and Joe Budden and everything. I also kind of feel like I really hope he does have something coming for Joe Budden, even though decisions and things have already been made, because I feel like Joe Budden has been the most disrespectful, even more so than MGK. But after watching the interview, I'm pretty happy that he made it because he spoke again about the bad reviews and things on Revival and people's opinions, and you know. For me, it made me feel like, okay, I can finally kind of get my thoughts and opinions out about Revival because I wasn't really able to give those in my Kamikaze reaction or in my MGK Rap Devil diss track reaction, where I talk about that and a bit of Revival too. So what I did was I just went on my Spotify and I'm just gonna go ahead and talk about Revival really quick. I'm not even gonna play any tracks. Like I'm just gonna speak about it because I don't want to have this video be super long and I don't want it to be super fucking crazy. But I've said before on my channel how it makes me really lost to see how many people have negatively reviewed Revival. I honestly wasn't even under the impression or aware that it was receiving any type of negativity at all because I just kept seeing it being promoted like all over the place. Like Walk on Water was heavily promoted. I mean, of course, Beyonce's on the track. I thought Walk on Water was amazing. I feel like um, Walk on Water was just pretty much talking about, Eminem feeling that shell within himself and um, constantly trying to uh, recreate himself as well as dealing with all the stigma and dealing with all the critique that he has been given ever since relapse and and even recovery too as well. Um, I don't know. It really fucking blows me every time I hear or think about even seeing Eminem say, yeah, I just took an L with Revival, da da da. Because I'm like, where was the L though? Like, where was it at? Because I don't know. One of the things that Eminem says in this interview with Sway is, oh, I also understood, how the industry seems like it's taking a turn as to where if you rap like this, or if you sound like this, or if you're not rapping like this, or you don't say this, and it's trash. Whereas, okay, so um, I know that there has been some repetitiveness in the rap industry. And what's crazy is I think what he's talking about is like the more poppy hip hop artists, like of course like Migos, Lil Pump, Bad and Bougie, Gucci Gang, It, like shit like that. Maybe even Future too as well, because y'all know I listen to Future. But I feel like just because I listen to Future doesn't mean I don't understand lyricism and storytelling and poetry within music, which is what Eminem does. And honestly, there is some lyricism in Future's music. I mean, I told you guys before that I listened to his mixtapes, and Future tells his story, and he raps about his past in his in his present, and it hence the name Future. You feel me? Like, I don't know. I don't know. I feel like every artist does have their own individuality, which is why I feel like Revival, for me, it just breaks my heart that it got such bad and poor reviews because the individuality of Revival to me was Eminem being way more vulnerable than normal. I feel like the entire album is just self reflection. I don't know, like even okay, even how the next track Believe, he talks about, would you still believe in me, I give everything I've had to give just to make you see. I felt like that was a message to the fans because he was going through a time where like a lot of people were just like shitting on him, a lot of people were, I guess, were giving up on Eminem and not really caring about him anymore. But I feel like I was never that fan, and I remember like Believe was one of the first tracks I put onto my playlist because I felt like he did it so well. Not to mention how Nowhere Fast to me sounds more like a poem. instead of an actual song. Like I don't listen to Nowhere Fast trying to turn up. I listen to it for the poetry and for the storytelling within that track. Because there's a lot of it. Not to mention how, in my opinion, with Castle and a Rose, to me, that's like his fucking suicide note. Like, you know what I'm saying? Those two tracks, pretty much in Castle, it's like I want to call it a letter to Haley. It's like a story, to Haley talking about how, he barely had anything to be able to provide, and he built this castle for them, and they're trapped because he built this really isolating life for them, and has reaped a lot of repercussions from the success that he's had and how it's affected his family and his personal life. And if you listen to the end of Castle, he fucking like downs a ball of pills and collapses, or it's supposed to be perceived that way. I mean, it sounds like he's choking. Who knows? Maybe he's not. Whatever. That's just how I took it. And then he goes into a Rose, whereas he's looking back and kind of analyzing everyone's life and everyone's situation if he had never, became who he is, or if he were to just die. And, I don't know, I heard those tracks, I got into my damn feelings. I'm like, I would hate for Eminem to feel this way. You know what I'm saying? So that's why Revival to me was a beautiful masterpiece. And not to mention, I talked to all you guys. I said that my favorite track was Framed. I think that he did really well with Framed. I loved the music video for it. I even loved the music video for Walk on Water. I mean, shit, even at the end of Walk on Water, he fucking snaps like, bitch, I wrote Stan. Because we use the word Stan so much, and all the kids who like grew up, you know, when Stan came out, we used it as like a slang, saying that you're like a really big fan of someone. And that's why, low key, with this whole MGK Eminem bullshit beef or whatever, I always say, and I say it to be a little bit funny, but I'm serious. I'm like, I stand both. I stand both. Because I do. I like both of them. I don't know. I don't really understand why he got such flack for Revival. It will always baffle me. I feel like I got a totally different view of the album. And what's crazy is him and Sway talk about reaction channels, and how Sway mentioned how he thinks it's cool because it kind of makes him think about when he was coming up and how people would like react to like music and talk about, oh hey, this is dope, I think this is dope. I think that's really fucking cool, and a part of me feels like maybe my ass should have reviewed Revival because maybe we would have had like a little bit more positivity around this bitch, because I'm not really getting it. You feel me? And so I don't know. Thinking about that, it's just really interesting because this whole interview where he talks about Kamikaze and how he really had to come hard in Kamikaze, just like how, he's kind of taking aim and shot at the more poppy hip hop artists. He's like, that's how much we have in common. That's how much we have in common. Or not alike, with Royce the 5'9". I thought that was really interesting too, and I thought that was dope. Like I also thought it was funny. You know what I'm saying? So I'm really interested to see where this whole thing is gonna go. And I'm really also interested in seeing, just like what response Eminem is gonna be able to come up with, like what he's gonna be able to say. There's like so much hype being built around this shit right now. It's like crazy. I'm following it to a T, which is why I am gonna continue to make videos on it. Another thing I wanted to go ahead and just touch on is Machine Gun Kelly, because as you guys know, I actually just went to his concert on Saturday here in Chicago. I made a video about that. I did make a vlog. So if you guys haven't seen the vlog yet, I'll just go ahead and I'll link the card here too. And I'll go ahead and you guys can watch that or whatever. But I am going to be uploading a rant about Machine Gun Kelly and just my thoughts on him as an artist and things like that. And I'm gonna just wait for you guys to see that. I kind of want to, get you all's opinions and just see kind of what you think about my thoughts about Machine Gun Kelly and just some things, some insight that I've gotten just from going and attending his concert, right? So I feel like there's a couple things I want to address that Eminem said about MGK. He's like, oh, this guy makes a fucking tweet about my daughter. And okay, granted, Machine Gun was fucking 22 when it happened. Haley was 16. That's fucking illegal. You know what I'm saying? But in MGK's defense, okay, how many of us have ever really known Haley's actual age? I know I never really knew. Like, until people started talking about it, I never knew. Like, even when he made that tweet, I wasn't even aware that he made that damn tweet, even though it was really controversial. Like, I never fucking heard about it. You know what I'm saying? And I didn't even realize how big and bad it got. and it really affected MGK career wise, as far as making certain moves until the whole Shade 45 thing. Because I actually found the interview, and I'm gonna show this when I play my MGK vid. Um, how MGK discusses, he was actually, kept out of Shade 45. He couldn't shoot for Rolling Stone and things like that because of this whole beef with Eminem, which that's crazy because I kind of thought in Rap Devil he was just kind of saying something like, oh yeah, you holding me back, blah blah blah. But I'm like, oh shit, this shit actually goes deep, which is crazy because it's something I never fucking knew about. So I feel like, to go after someone because they tweeted and called your daughter attractive. How many people have called Haley pretty? I mean, I've called her pretty. I'm not gonna say like she's like hot or whatever. I mean, I'm not. I'm saying Haley's cool. You know what I'm saying? Like, but so many people compliment this girl. So many people think that this girl is like gorgeous. You know what I'm saying? And also too, MGK did say Eminem's still king. So I don't think he was trying to be disrespectful. Like I don't think that MGK was like purposely trying to troll Eminem. And then Eminem's like, oh yeah, he went on this whole press tour about it. I'm like, no, he did not. MGK was not on his fucking interviews like, hey, guess what? Guess what? I tweeted this bullshit. Did y'all hear about the bullshit I tweeted? Nah. He was being asked all the time. And he would try to keep it in. And I saw his frustration as an artist because he would talk about, yo, this shit locked me out of these opportunities. This shit happened here. People fucking assume this because I tweeted this. Da, da, da. Like that's how it would go down. MGK like was not around his bitch talking about, oh, y'all want to know what I did? Like, my nigga, like, it did not happen like that. But then again, it's like, I don't really know. You know what I'm saying? Like, we're all just gonna have to wait for fucking Eminem to say his shit. Who knows, man? Who knows? The drama continues, the saga continues. You feel me? I do really appreciate Sway and Eminem talking about reaction channels and just people who talk about their music in general, whether they have experience in the industry. Because you guys know I do have experience in the music industry, and I felt very included, even though I'm super fucking small time. Compared to them, because I just have done local stuff like in my city. You feel me? I mean, I've gone on tour before, but I've never like been on like, that statue of anything. I love, artist development. That's kind of like more where I specialize as far as, working with artists and stuff. So it's really cool. I love how he's like, yeah, everybody who does a reaction has some sort of experience in the industry or is like a producer or a DJ or something. So they have like room to speak about it. But I also like how he talks about the people who don't have any experience. And even though some people just sit up there and just talk shit and just critique, which is like really the world, I mean, those are still fans though. You know what I'm saying? And I come on here, right? Especially when I talk about music artists, I come like kind of like in two pieces. One, as someone with artists and music and industry experience and that whole business management thing that I have, and a fan fucking girl. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, YouTube is like the only place I'm like able to fangirl like in peace. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I can fucking like talk about, what I like and what I think is popping or who I think is popping. And I mean, people will try to drag you and come for you regardless. But to me, it doesn't really fucking matter. But I don't know. I did find this whole interview really cool. I'm really excited for like part two and whatever else is ready to come. But my biggest thing is just like this whole shit about revival. Like I will never fucking understand it. Like I will never understand it. Because I was still listening to revival even before Kamikaze dropped, and then Kamikaze dropped, and y'all saw my legit reaction. I'm at work. I'm like tripping out. I'm like, because in my world, like revival was cool. I was still like listening to Framed. I was still like listening to Believe. You know what I'm saying? Like, uh, I don't fucking know. I mean, yeah, I guess people can't always be happy, and the fact that Eminem was able to take the criticism from Revival and turn around and come back with something like Kamikaze also shows his strength as an artist. It also shows like the amount of endurance that he has. It shows his insights. It shows that he's, of course, always watching. He's very mindful, and I do feel like even though he said that it took revival for him to make Kamikaze, I also feel like we probably would have still received something on the stature of Kamikaze, even if revival didn't happen, even if the critiques didn't happen. Because one thing I've known and one thing I've always loved about Eminem is that he has always been like that lyrical fucking maniac. Like he has the ability, like he has capability, like metaphorically he's able to do anything. Like he can do so much storytelling. He's poetic. Like he's so much in one. And that's why I've always appreciated all sides of him, like Eminem, the entity, which is pretty much, the one that can do it all, like lyrically. Marshall Mathers, the deeper, kind of darker, bit more sensitive side in regards to his family and his, personal life and just him as a human being. And then, of course, we have Slim Shady, which is like the sarcastic, crazy ass one. Might kill you. um, side of himself, but yet they're all, in my opinion, beautiful. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know. I like Eminem. I don't know. I like everybody. I think that is also an issue because I also like Little Pump and fucking. I like I understand everyone like on a fucking different level. I don't know. Maybe I'm just over here tweaking the fuck out. Like the life of tweaking the fuck out. Like that will probably be my new name. But y'all let me know what y'all think and give me your opinions and shit like that. And yeah, if in case you guys haven't noticed, this is a twofer. I'm uploading this, and I know I just uploaded my Charles Gross video. I'll put a card like right here or something. Y'all can check that out. And I'll just see you guys in the next video. And I love you guys. Mwah.